Okay, welcome to today's webinar on ICC Digital Codes Premium. My name is Phil Anthony. I'm with the ICC as the Digital Codes Specialist. And today we'll go through some of the features and benefits of the Digital Codes Premium, show some of the features there, some of the content, and everything else that is on the platform. I will take questions as they come up, so feel free to use the Q&A chat box to go ahead and post questions. If I can take them while I'm doing the presentation, I will answer them at that point. If not, I'll circle back around and get them at the end, and I'll leave time open also at the end where I'll turn, everyone's on mute right now, but I'll allow the microphones to be workable and can ask any questions aloud as well too. So here we go. All right, so with Digital Codes Premium, I'm sure most of you live in the codes quite frequently. And in the past, people could only access building codes and standards in printed materials and in PDF format. However, now with Digital Codes Premium, which you may hear me refer to as DCP from now on, we've moved past the limitations of having content just on paper for one person. With the DCP software, people are now able to access codes everywhere. The information is always up to date, and you can easily collaborate with your team members and clients. Some of the features that we have are on the next two slides. I'll just briefly explain these and then also show them on the actual platform. But we do have in our Digital Codes Premium Complete. Complete is one of the packages. We're up to over 1,300 codes and standards now for our title count. We also do have a offline view and a mobile app. And of course, all the other things you'd expect with having everything digitized with lots of titles that you can access, code interpretations. We got the code CDP, the code development process, significant changes, revision history, and then all the abilities to create notes and be able to organize them, highlight, annotate, and bookmark, and be able to collaborate. One of the features people also like to have with this is you have the ability to copy and paste sections of the codes if you need to share those in specific situations. And then, of course, with it being digitized, all the search features and advanced search functionality is able to be accessed quickly and easily. I will mention also here, if you haven't yet, at the end of the meeting after it's done, we do have a 14-day free trial. It really is free. There's no credit card needed or anything like that, but it gives you the opportunity to view all the content in Digital Codes Premium Complete. And if you do get that free trial, we also do have the apps that will go along with it. That 14 days is an active license for the DCP, so the apps would work with it as well. You can go ahead and use those at the same time. You're using the actual platform along with the app as well. So when we use the word Digital Codes Premium, that refers to the platform that the content is on and all the features and benefits that come from that being on there. On Digital Codes Premium, you have the choices of what type of content you would like to have. If you're only referencing one specific title, we do have singles that would be a type of license that you could have. For example, IBC. Digital Codes Premium Collections would be a group of titles that are related. An example of that would be all the model, model codes IBC plus all the other ones would be a collection. And then the last one we have is Digital Codes Premium Complete, which would include all the titles that we have available digitized and on the complete license. So you can get licenses for whichever whatever works best for your particular organization. You can mix and match licenses that you acquire if it needs to be only for specific groups of people, need access only to specific content. Here's a list of some of the organizations that do have content on ICC Digital Codes Premium Library, and I'll go through where these can be found on the platform when I go over there next. And then just a kind of visual representation of the different types of licenses that you can acquire. As you can see here, the Premium Complete is the one we recommend you look at first because the cost per title is actually really low, and we do price it pretty aggressively, both with um, the discount packages for number of licenses, but as we said, the singles and collections are available as well too, and they vary by price. And here's where I mentioned, if you're not sure how many licenses you may need, I will explain how you can get individual licenses, and then once you acquire those, they can be shared as well. But this allows you to take advantage of quantity discounts at the lower number of quantities. Really take advantage of that. It's not priced where you have to acquire many licenses. We do price breaks early and quickly there. And then there's an additional savings if you do a 3-year plan, and also there is ICC member discounts. We'll explain a little bit about DCP Enterprise here, and I'll circle back if people have specific questions because we do have a platform for larger organizations, probably most beneficial. If you're managing maybe 20, 50 or more, it has the ability where you could load registered users up, in an Excel spreadsheet. So if you're doing hundreds of those, you could have those immediately uploaded. The difference between DCP Enterprise dedicated seats and DCP concurrent licenses is that the seats in Enterprise are dedicated, so those can't be shared. Those will be assigned specifically to someone, which is also a benefit in the instances where people don't want to be blocked out of their access because all licenses that are being shared are currently being used. I'll put this screen up at the end too, but this has my contact information if you want to make note of that, and I'll circle back around and post it at the end as well too. But let me get over to the platform and show some of the features here. And as I said, feel free to post questions in here. I did just pull that up. Always a popular questions. Do you get CEUs? No, this is not a registered event for CEU credit. That does come up frequently. In the future, we'll be having other ones that do have that ability, but those will be posted and announced during the registration process if there is. So thank you for the questions. Continue to post. All right, probably most of you are familiar with this site here. This is codes.iccsafe.org. This is where our digital codes reside. You can see the logo there, the ICC digital codes. And I started out not being signed in. Just wanted to show you a couple things here. First of all, if you come to this page and you do not have a license yet for Digital Codes Premium, here's where you can get the 14-day Premium Complete trial. Like I said, it's really easy and straightforward. You set up your account, no credit card needed, no commitment to pay anything, and then once you confirm your account, you will have access. Also, if you scroll down further, I mentioned the mobile apps. If you want to download those at the same time, it is for Android and Apple devices, and it is a really robust app. These screens you see here will reflect what I'll show you on our online platform as well too, but just wanted to point out those two things right on our home page. So here I'll kind of go through the categories that we have. You see browse available contents. iCodes, everyone's familiar with. I'll come back to this one as I launch into the actual content, but here's the first benefit of having the content digitized is that we have both the current versions and previous cycles as well. So historically, if you need to cite something back in previous cycles, those are on the platform as well. Here are the standards that we reference in the iCodes. Depending on which standard you're looking for, it may be presented in different formats. Anything that's referenced in the iCodes that goes out to the standards, we'll let you know where to find that. If we have the full content on our platform, we will share that with you as well. I'll mention two things here. The ASTM standards were just added in over the last couple of weeks. So if you haven't been on or were waiting for this, they are now available. And I'll go through and open these up when I have access. Unfortunately, the situation is due to licensing, the standards aren't available to view in your free trial, but they are included with Complete. There was no extra charge for having the ASTM on there. We are now up to over 1,300 codes and standards. I will also mention as we continue to grow our platform with content, we do call it Digital Codes Premium Complete on that package. But since then, it used to be just complete iCodes ICC content, but we continue to add more. As I mentioned, the ASTM was added at no charge. We have added the ASHRAE standards as an optional add-on that you can do for additional costs. But as I mentioned there, I just want to let you know that we do have access to these standards in one form or another listed here. And as you have complete, you can go ahead and view how those are presented as well. Also, locations. Obviously, the model codes, the states use them to base their codes upon. Most of them, amend it in one way or another. The California codes just came out. They were released in 2022. Those came out early. They go into effect in 2023. But for example, California, I'll pull this up for a second here. You can see they have their amended versions right online here. They are a state that works back with the ICC. Once they amended their code, we will produce their print versions and the digital content that is available online too. So California will be, in there in everything we have the license to reprint form. So that is included in Complete as well. There's other states you may be familiar with. I'll use Hawaii, for example. They base their codes on the ICC content, and it is based on 2018. But when they make amendments to their codes, they just post them on their state website. So we do not have their full amendments listed right in here, but it is based upon the IBC. But just wanted to show you, we do have many locations there that you're able to access easily from this front page. Commentaries, you're probably familiar with as well. And as you can see, we've digitized several cycles worth of them. And also I'll point out if you don't have a license, you can come in here and you can view how much DCP licenses would cost when it presents these prices here. Since you're not signed in, it does not show the ICC discount, but it does show you the discounts for both the term that would be a discount and also the number of licenses. Quantities will provide a discount as well. So the ICC commentaries are in there, kind of nice where the code and commentary are combined, and I will circle back to that as well and show you that when we're logged in. But continuing on the content that we have available, these are some of the resources. Obviously, the revision history, significant changes are really popular. And over the summer, we added both study companions and flashcards. So if you're studying for any certification exams, we do have those in there as well. That was added for free to Digital Codes Complete over the summer. And then other topics are grouped together here. There are some publishers that you could specifically go through and see their content as well. And then the collections I kind of briefly explained, but here they are presented. For example, there's the full California collection. If you want to, that's digitized. If you wanted to subscribe to that, once again, you click on it, you can see the pricing for non-members. And then here are some of the other collections as well too. Just check and chat again, Q&A. Will you show us how to navigate the free site? That is what I just did. So you see I am not logged in. So what I'm going to do now is log into a title so you can see what it is. We call it a basic view. And the second question too, I see that ES reports, yes, those are included in the Digital Codes Premium, and I'll show you where those icons occur and the type of content that's available there. So going to the question of the basic view site. For example, if you're someone who doesn't live in the codes or need them every day, maybe a residential homeowner or someone who just wants to reference them, we do allow basic view on the model codes. So for example, once again, you see I'm not signed in. I'm still in regular digital codes. And if I open up the IBC, I will still be able to, even in basic view, go through and you can see I can expand out the sections, code sections and subsections, and I can go right through and I can view that content. Even I'm still not signed in. So, and also point out here when you're looking at these versions, great thing about everything being digitized is you can see there was 6 versions of the 2018 IBC. And once again, pointing out the fact if you just got the first version of the print or PDF copy, it was outdated probably a couple months later when there would be any errata or any changes or anything to it. So it does always present the most current version, but you have the ability to go back to previous versions as well. So in the basic view, you are able to scroll, scan the code, and read code sections with subsections, but you are not able to use the advanced search features, and you are not able to copy paste or any other things that I will be showing you now as well. And if you hear me pause, it's not because I forgot what I was doing, it's because I am checking the chat as we go along too. So good question. Specifically for the California codes, someone had asked if the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing are included. I can go through the site. I can circle back around and show you exactly what we have in the shop, but it's a good question. So here's the situation. The mechanical, plumbing, and electrical code are not included in the digital codes complete because they haven't provided, the license to the copyright to show them digitized. However, we do have the ability to offer those in a full print collection. So if you go to our shop, you'll be able to see there's 2 different types of collections for California, the full collection, which will include all the titles plus those 3 that I just mentioned in print. But those 3 titles are not available digitized on DCP just because that's the way the licensing fee happened to work or happens to work in this specific example. So good questions, keep them coming. All right, so now as I signed in, I'm still in the, like I said, I'm not signed in with a license, but as soon as I have acquired my digital codes complete license, and I'm able to sign in with the valid license, you're going to see in the upper right-hand corner, changes to my name, shows that I do have access to complete. And if you noticed over here, the digital codes icon changed from just a plain green to a nice gold. It's premium. So now we are able to access all these different features that I was about to discuss here. Since we're here right in this page, someone had mentioned or asked about the ES reports. Wherever you see that icon, there will be ES reports for the ones or for the products that relate to that. Opens up in a separate tab, so you can read through that, the actual ES report for that, and those are identified by the ES on there. And since I'm here, I may as well show you the premium. If there's any additional premium material, these could be several different things. Code interpretations will be here. So the SIG changes. And also there's the revision history. And I'll come back to this one too, because there's also going to be code development process hearings and proposals as well too. But since I'm here, let me explain everything that's on this page to start with. You see some of the text is in blue. What this indicates is that it is a change from the previous cycle of the I-codes. There is a legend in the left here. If you're not sure what a symbol or text means, it'll show you here. Blue text, a change from the previous edition. The red text, for example, in California would be the amendments that California made to the model codes, and those will be shown in red. A couple other like margin icons and sidebars and things like that. This group I'm going to go through next. And then referring back to here's the icons that you can see in there, the ES reports listing, the premium material. I'll circle back to these 3 when I got an example of those and I can show you exactly. So one of the first things that you're able to do is copy paste. So if I highlight this, I am able to Control C, Control V, place it into, if you're contacting a homeowner directly, you can use that. It is fair use of the copyright. You're, communicating one-to-one with someone who needs that information. So you can put that into a document you're working on or a specific email. And then also you will see these different icons here. Excuse me, when you pull out the waffle. So here's the ones that was in the legend that I did not discuss yet. But these first two are going to be similar. This will highlight. They're both note-taking icons. So you can either have the text highlighted, which I won't do. I'll show you the bookmark because it's going to do the same thing without highlighting. When you open up the highlight or the bookmark icon, you do have the ability to put in any custom comments that you would like to have. And as you can see with the text editor here, does allow a lot of different options where you can strike through or you can do bullet lists and things like that. Also has project tags. Here are previous ones I'd made. So if people are, you can create any type of project tag that you would like, or you can pick from the list. For example, if we wanted to create a new tag, let's call this September demo. And very creative, artistic. We got infinite choice of colors, so you can assign a color to it. And then when you save it, it will have that project tag available for anyone else that's in your, if you happen to be using the licenses in a concurrent group. And then when I save it, you'll see a couple things happen. This did change to a filled in bookmark. And also, if you just, like I said, and I'll explain how concurrent groups work, where you can collaborate and share notes. If you're just scrolling through this title, even if you hadn't created the own note, as you see it, boom, there it is. There's the comments that I had created, the project tag if you wanted to organize that way, and someone else can always see who created that note if they wanted to. If you created the note, you have the ability to edit it or delete it. If you didn't create the note, then you can't edit or delete it. Going to these other icons here, you do have the ability to share this link. Up pops a email generator, which if you want to use it is convenient. You're able to, just to let you know that the email does come from ICC support. If you prefer not to have that come from there, you can simply copy the URL. You can see it's copied to the clipboard. You can use your own email. And just to give you a couple quick notes on how you can use this, talk to a lot of people, within the buildings department who have residents come in, they need to show them a copy of the code. They pull out their ripped up IRC and, flip it around and show them. But in this case, you can communicate via email. And since we are in an ICC model code that has basic view for non-subscribers, you could send that link. It would take them right here. They would be able to view the code that you are referencing and also could, scroll down if there's other parts that you were referencing as well too. It opens up right into this, but instead of the premium version, they will just have the digital codes, but they're still able to access the code that you're referring to. You additionally have the ability to print sections with subsections. Obviously, you can't print the entire book or chapters, but it will print sections with subsections, and you can actually do two things with it here. You see, it opened up for me in Adobe Acrobat. That's the PDF reader I have. If you wanted to, you could download this to your, the small section to your desktop. If you wanted to mark it up with your PDF editor, or of course, you could send it to print and print that out there as well. So it formats it in a nice PDF format. Shows the authoritative source of the code. People know it's coming from the ICC, not some other place. And so it's official, and who also accessed it and the date that was printed. Let me go back and check to see if there's questions, and of course there is. So let me pause for a second. Yeah, mechanical, electrical, plumbing for California. No, not previous years on digitals. Those are all available in print. And then I see people post them both in chat and Q&A, so I'm looking at both of them. Another question about getting the license to offer the digital format. Currently, we don't, if we're using California for specifically 2022 codes are out, so that's this is the format it's going to be in. I understand you'll still have to go to other parties or directly from those standard development organizations to electronically get that. But if you want it from print, we can, ICC sells the entire print collection. All right, continuing on with the notes. So on the left-hand side here, as you can see, we can scroll through and find our code section. The My Notes, I just showed you an example of how you can create notes. So if you're in this title and you click on My Notes, you will be able to see every note that was created in here and jump right to it. You can also, if you end up having hundreds of different notes in here, you can narrow them down to just include specific ones. For example, let's just show the September demo one I just made that filters it, and then you can just view anything with that specific demo tag. To continue on with the notes, I will show you this. You can do this in any of the titles that have the premium features. All the iCodes have them, commentaries and everything. We have some titles that are available only in PDF view. That's because of the licensing agreement, and I'll give you a couple examples of those too as we move forward. But my notes and bookmarks. So every note that was made in your premium group could be accessible here. And I'm going to circle back and talk about how you can use premium for teams, but just to kind of, like I said, close the everything I can tell you about the notes. Notes are either attached to an individual license. So if you're the only person using the license, all your notes will be private, and unless if you specifically share one or more, no one else will see them. But then if someone else in your office is using their own individual license, you won't get to see their notes either, which is the way sometimes people want to have it. For you to collaborate and share notes, the individual licenses that you acquire can be made into a concurrent group. So when you buy licenses, if you buy 10, they're all start as individual licenses. You can create like an individual license for 2 different people. Then maybe you want to put those other 8 into a concurrent group. And with that, the notes and everything within that group could be shared among anyone that has access, the code access to that group. So that would be a way to collaborate. If you put it in a group, anyone who goes into that group of licenses would be able to share and view other people's notes. And like I said, I'll explain that a little bit further here when I finish up the notes. But here is where all of my notes that I have made will be shown. If I go down to the 2021 IBC, can see that there was 6 notes there. You have the ability to do 2 things. You could print out your notes. It will generate a PDF, and you could print your notes from multiple titles. You could take 2 from the IBC, 2 from the Fire Code, so you have the ability to print notes. What you can also do, and here's the example, we're in 2021. When 2021 changes to 2024 cycle, all of the notes that you have created in there, you can either move them, which means it would take them out of 2021 and put them in 2024. Or I think most people would probably leave them in both places, and you'd use the clone command. So no more having to I know people make notes in the code books, use sticky notes. No more having to rewrite notes or pull out notes and find the right section to put them in. This platform will automatically move all the notes you created for any specific code sections or subsections, move them into the new cycle book. And if the code section number or subsection has changed slightly, it is intelligent enough to know where to place them so they will correctly appear. Let me also go through, and since I'm on my notes and bookmarks, I did see some questions pop up, but let me finish the notes side of the things here. Here's the project tags. If you wanted to search notes with specific project tags across this group or individual license, you could. I'm going to go to the code interpretation ones that I tagged. People had asked about the different icons there, and I know this section has all 4 of them on there. So here's an example. Let it load up for a second here. Oops, my notes. Project tags, code interpretation, see how I can filter that. And then if I go there, it's going to go through at the top. Nope, place it at the bottom. Where are we at? And I think I put it in I apologize here. I think I changed this when I was editing it before, but as we can see, the premium, now I'm making everyone dizzy scrolling through, but let me see if it's at the top of the section here. All right, well, we'll start with the premium material here. So once again, there's the code interpretations, revision history, and I am looking for the CDP access, which I will then come back to because I think I moved it and don't have it right there. But if you have the CDP access, it will show the proposals that were being made for codes that were being changed, and it has hearing videos on it as well too. I'll circle back and try to find where I'd move that to. But going back to the Q&A, plumbing study companion, referencing IRC, energy codes. I think maybe I'll show that. I'll show the study materials, but I might have to come back and answer that more and when we can get a open up the mics there. Along with notes, can the highlighting also be cloned? Yes, and that's what I'd mentioned. The highlight icon and the bookmark icon open up the same notes window. So when we say notes, it includes any note that was made with either a highlighting or a bookmark. Manner of timestamps for notes. The timestamps it had was the date that it was created. And then questions about the premium for Teams, which I will get into next. All right, let's do the search functionality. We're about halfway through here. I did want to leave time for more questions at the end. As you realize, or probably know already, let me clear the search. When everything's digitized, it makes it really easy to perform search and have that extra functionality for it. So I always use means of egress in the demos here because I know it's going to give a lot of results. As you can see there, across all 1,300 titles that we have, there's almost 30,000 results. So if you use such a general term like that, but maybe you do want to narrow it down in a specific way, we do offer these categories on the left-hand side that kind of probably is the way you'd want to narrow it down. I'll choose iCodes. You can see it narrowed it down to 2,400, but if you wanted to be specific and view in commentaries or a specific state, California, for example, you could select that instead and use that to narrow down the results. Next most obvious thing would probably be the cycle that you're on. So we'll choose 218 since that's a common one for current right now, and that drops it down to 642. So you can see how quickly you can narrow down to where you want to be. You could even select the exact title that you would want the results to pull from. And if you want to be even more granular and look for just figures tables, you can do that as well too. But let's just take this for example, we're down to 642 results. What this is called is a breadcrumb trail, so you can see where everything is being searched from. And like I said, we just left all the 218 I codes, so you can see this one's IEBC, this one's IBC. So if you kind of wanted a high level view, you can see where means of egress will occur. But if we want to go to 2018 IBC, you can start at the top of the title, top of the chapter, or go right into the exact subsection. And if you noticed here, it does pop up into a new tab, so you're not going back and forth on the back button. And while I'm here, let me show you a couple other things which are nice. The whole program is web-based, so it's not attached to a single piece of hardware or a network drive. Anyone that has access to the licenses, either an individual license or in a concurrent group, anywhere they have an active browser with a connection to the internet, they can log on. As you see, I'll hover over a hyperlink, gives you a quick view, and then a couple tips people have told me that work well since this is web-based. The same manner you use your browser for anything else you're doing. As you can see, I just opened up a new tab, so instead of using the back button, it took me right over to that section, 90531, and it opened up a new page. If you wanted to see things side by side, works the same way. I just opened it in a new window. You got one screen, you can resize your window and view them side by side. You got two screens, slide it over to the other one, but it gives you some flexibility being web-based, and it acts the same way as any other web browser. So this was a result it gave me for means of egress for the IBC I chose. And as you see, it still maintained my original search. So if you wanted to check any of the other ones, you don't have to use the back browser. If it's a search you use often, you could save that search and then it'll appear over in your administration dashboards. But let's clear it and then do an advanced term search. That's actually located right here. I cleared the search, so it didn't have any other of the parameters in there. But let's do a similar search, and you're probably familiar with these different phrases for searching: exact, all, any, or none. You can search by, but we'll use the egress example again. But let's do it for basement. And as we hit the advanced term search, this will bring back results from code sections that have those two words within 50 words of each other. So you see it got really narrowed down. And if you're looking specific, whether it's, basement, bedroom, or something like that, that is another search feature that you have that you can use in advanced search as well too. So a lot of different ways to find things. And I'll just show you one last thing here. If we're doing general searches, if I put in IRC, you could look for contents. This would search contents in there. If I just hit return, or for example, titles, it will pull out. You see all the different sections we have. There's the residential code and commentary, which we did have questions on that. Let me move over to that real quick. And then I'm going to speed up and talk about premium for teams and still leave 10 minutes left over. All right, so we have the code and commentary. If any of you have these books, I'm sure you are carrying quite a bit of weight if you're bringing them around the office or home or to a job site or anything. This is nice because it's code and commentary combined. It's digitized. If you see, the commentary to the code has the diamonds there. If you're really familiar with the code and you know where you're looking and you don't want to see the commentary because it's digitized, I just hit it. You can scroll, hit it. I hided it. It's the way to put it, I guess, right? And then if I want to show it, then it'll expand out, and all those sections that have the diamond in there would be shown. So, and once again, you could take notes on here. This is another version where you can do that. Let me circle back around and now pull up the ASTM. That, like we said, that was a big add. Let me go here first. There is a digital codes. I think if you pull up complete and you're not logged in, it will show you this page. As I mentioned, we're up to 1,360 titles. You can search for specific titles if you want to see they're in there. There's other just added section. There's ASTM there. And then, as I mentioned, we continue to add as much as we can. Those extra California codes aren't on this one. But maybe in the future, it could be, some of these things would be available, but not included in Premium Complete. ASHRAE, as I mentioned, was one of those titles that are available on there, but it is an extra charge. So up to 1,360 titles. ASTM, let me just go through and show you those. I said that was big. We just added those. And as you can see here, these are the 525 ASTM standards in their entirety, as they're referenced in the 2021 I code. If you were to open this up, you can search for, by the title. There are links to it within the I codes as well too. And this is one where I mentioned it is in its entirety, but it's a PDF view, so you can't copy paste, can't make notes on it, but very convenient that the standard in its entirety is there available for all the ASTM standards that were mentioned in the 2021 I codes. All right, let me get over to the teams, premium for teams, because that was where one of the questions was. And I know there's going to be more, so let me try to wrap up here in 10 minutes and leave questions at the end. So as I mentioned, there were concurrent licenses or enterprise seats. I'll pull up this screen here. This is in our shop. It is connected to those other screens you saw on codes.icc save for the information, but I just kind of wanted to show you this because it has a quick calculator, and I am signed in as an ICC member. So when you acquire licenses, there are 3 discounts available. One is if you're an ICC member, be logged in while you're making the purchase, and you can see membership pricing has been applied. The second discount is the volume, and let me hover over this. Sorry. So if you hover on the eye there, it will show you where the price breaks are. So one at member price is 720, but we break the price down really quick. Even two is a significant difference. So instead of 720 for one, it's 540 each for two of them, and then billed every 3 years. We'll bring it down even more significantly. Two licenses, that's 1211, which brings it down. You got to divide that by the 3 years. So, 400, just over $400. So three different types of discounts available. And then the question was about sharing licenses. Let's say your office, 50 people. You could acquire 10 licenses, and when you make this purchase, the person who made the purchase, the administrator, so to speak, would have 10 individual licenses in their codes.iccsafe.org account. When you go in there to configure your licenses, as I mentioned, let's say you want to keep one, give one to another individual. You can enter in their email address, they get notification, and that one person, you assign them an individual license, and they will have full use of it. They won't ever get logged off. No one else will use it. If that person leaves the company, since you're the administrator, you have the ability to take it back and assign it to another email address. And then let's say we take those other 9 licenses and put it into 3 different concurrent groups of 3 licenses. Some people like to have that because they got different departments. And as I said, notes are attached to the concurrent groups or an individual license. So you could create 3 different group names, and you could be descriptive in what they are. That name will be the code that people enter. And so you have group 1 with 3 licenses. Let's say you want to give that out to just 3 people because they want to collaborate with their notes and everything, but they want to always be able to have access. So if you only give that code to 3 people and there's 3 licenses in that group, then only those 3 people would be able to enter, and there'd always be an available license. Now let's take another group, the second group, which has 3 licenses in it, and you could take that group name, distribute it to 10 people, 20 people if you want. There's no limit on it, and anyone that has that code could log into that group and collaborate with the notes and everything and share that license, those 3 licenses. The only limitation would be simultaneous use would be limited by the number of licenses in that group. So the first 3 people in there that day would be able to access the content. 4th person would get a message saying that all available licenses are being used. Please try again later. There is a 20-minute logout feature of inactivity. So if you are not active in there, it will log you off after 20 minutes, and that frees up the license so people are not monopolizing it. And then the third group, like I said, maybe you just assign that to another 10 people. But the big point I wanted to make here was that notes are either attached to a single user if they have a single license, or people can collaborate with notes inside a concurrent group, and anyone that has access to that group code can log in, create, and view notes as well too. And just to kind of wrap it up, everyone has their own account login. You obviously don't want to share your IC as an administrator, your ICC account login, because then they'd have access to all your ICC account info. But what they would do would create their own account login. This is free. So as I mentioned, if you're an ICC member and you're the purchaser, you get the discount. The people that use the content and the licensing don't have to be ICC members, but they will create their own account. So when they sign in, their name will show up there. And if they're in a concurrent group, it'll just show their name. They don't have an actual license, so they don't get complete there or any of those nice colored gold diamonds. What they would have to do then is click on this icon, and when they click there, they would be able to enter in the code that you gave them. So it's simple 2-step process. Log into your own ICC account, go to this icon, put in the name of the group you want to go into, and it will accept it. It will change their name to the name of the group so they know that they are in there and using one of the concurrent licenses. And just the last thing, if you've signed your 10 licenses and you want to redistribute them in a different way, you can take licenses out of a group and put them someplace else. If you need more licenses because everyone's saying, hey, I need to get on this, you can buy more licenses and add them to the group. So it is easy to configure it. And as I mentioned there, it's only a two-step process to log in. Um, I'm going to wrap up and check the questions here. The other things on the side are pretty self-explanatory. You know, the favorites, there's a heart there. So if you wanted to fill in the heart next to the title, then you'll always be able to have your favorites available to you. Um, Dashboard saves a couple things. It shows you recently viewed, so that may be convenient. Sometimes here's where the favorites would be organized, and then recently added content. There's all the ASTM that was just put into the license that I have available to me. All right, I'm going to check. Where are we at? Let me check the Q&A, and then we got time. I will open up the mic. Someone said they lost the audio. I hope everyone else will still be able to hear me. So, does the commentary function work with the California codes? That's a good question. The people in California who, as we mentioned, could only buy the California codes if that's all they wanted. Most of them are buying the complete collection because it includes obviously the model codes and then the commentaries. They're not commentaries on the California amendments. They're commentaries on the I codes, which are still pertinent and relative. So commentaries are included with complete, but not with just the California collection. So good question there. Most people buy complete just because of all the titles that they have in there as well too. And then I think I answered the question. Someone asked about 10 potential users, but only two at the same time. So to answer your specific questions, you could buy 2 user licenses. All 10, if you put that in a concurrent group, all 10 could access it if they gave them the code, but max users, simultaneous users at a time would be 2. So I think I did answer that one correctly as well, too. All right, I believe I have covered everything that I was looking to. I will keep looking for questions here, but let me kind of just I'll keep the recording going on if we still got questions going. But I just kind of wanted to reinforce the fact that how great the digital codes premium is with everything being digitized. We went through the COVID situation where people weren't able to go into work, and now with the more flexible work hours, not hours. God, you're probably working more hours, but the work locations you do now have the ability to access code content much easier than a PDF that's stuck on someone's laptop for their own individual use. Or even if you have a library in the office, if someone takes out the IBC and takes it to their office, you don't know where that IBC is, even if they're not looking at it, or they take it home and they got it overnight. Whereas you use the same example here, someone's accessing IBC and your, single title license. When they're done with it, it's open for someone else to use. They don't have to be in the office. They don't have to go knocking on someone's door in the back of their pickup truck. Basically, wherever you have access to a web browser, you are able to access the code. So it just makes that convenient and easy to use. The web app, excuse me, the mobile app, which I said I would circle back to, just a couple quick notes on there. You do have the ability to download titles. So if you are totally offline, up to 15 titles can be in your app. You could access the code sections pretty similarly to how I showed you here. Like I said, it's a robust app. If you have access to data or Wi-Fi, you can also still view notes and make notes, but if you're totally offline, even though you can't make or view notes, you still would have access to the quote unquote code book on there as well too. All right. We got 10 minutes left. So I will open up. What I'll do is I will allow audio questions to be asked. Let me select all attendees. I'm not going to unmute everyone in case people are doing other things in the background, but I just hit allow. So if you do have a question, you could jump in and ask a question if you would like, or post it in the Q&A. But I do welcome everyone. If you got to go, I thank you for joining us here. And just to kind of summarize that remind you that Digital Codes Premium Complete is the solution that will allow your organization to access codes and standards that are always up to date, can be accessed anywhere you have, an internet connection and a browser, and allow you to collaborate and share notes and contents with your team members and make you more effective. I do appreciate everyone's time here. I don't know if people are going to raise hands or just jump in, but I will monitor both the chat and anyone asking questions. ICC training or other webinars, we do have a list of webinars on our main ICC Safe page, ICC events. I think I'll look that up. And if I'll go ahead and do that here while I'm looking for questions. Will the recording be shared? Yes. As I complete this, I will get the recording formatted, put it over to our awesome marketing people and both attendees and registrants, even if they couldn't make it, will receive a recording of the audio that they can reference. And I will also mention, well, let me put up my name and contact information here again. Like I said, I am responsible for getting people information for any of the Digital Codes premium products that we have. I would welcome to do demos if, for example, you have a large organization. And, that's why I always suggest to people, if you're thinking about doing this, you are able to use the free trial, which if you get a group of your stakeholders together, have them use it for those 2 weeks and kind of get some feedback. And, we can do a demo and discuss specific objectives that you're trying to attain in your organization and the best practices to do that as well too. The errata, those are there. Yes, asked how the errata is shown. I did show you, and I'll leave my slide up here just for a second. If you're copying questions, actually, it's going to be in the recording. So let me go back into the website as well too. So yes, the errata will be shown both. Pull up iCodes. Go back to 218. Here's the IBC. So it's done in 2 ways. So anything with the E, I'm going to try to find one, but let me just show you this. So any errata will be in there. That will be at the top of a code section. So that will show you the errata there as well too. And as I mentioned before, for example, this is the 6th version. So you got the first version when 2024 comes out, or we're in 2021 cycle. Whenever there is any changes, errata, or whatever else, those will be put in there, updated automatically, and the most latest version is presented to you first. That's why I said up in the upper right, you have the ability to review different versions, and any changes will also be in there in the errata section with that E on that icon that I'd shown you in the legend. Okay, I believe I have caught up to all of the questions. There is still 5 minutes left. What I will do is I will turn off the recorder in case anyone was shy and wants to speak aloud on their mic. So I will end the recording now. Thank you everyone for attending.